right up front. And as the day wore on, we kept reeling those babies in. How do you like the wake? How do you like the engine? All right. Live in our studio right now is Roger George of the Fresno Bee. He writes a column every Wednesday in the sports section, but he is here today to talk about our big fishing trip at San Luis. We have a lot of video to show you, my friends, on this day, and you are welcome to call in at 436-ME-TV, option 11. The fishing trip of a lifetime. You won't believe how many we caught on that March 6th, that Friday afternoon, that gorgeous day out there at San Luis. We're back with your phone calls and our videotape in just a moment.
The Ballad of Andy and Barney. Andy and Barney were lawmen, bravest you ever did see. Warned every crook in the record book to stay out of Mayberry. They were the law.
Yes, they were the law, and they didn't know fear.
The Andy Griffith Show.
I guess to sum it up, you could say there's three reasons why there's so little crime in Mayberry. There's Andy, and there's me, and baby makes three.
Now on MeTV Fresno.
Want to create something extraordinary? Create perfection. Our lifestyle appliances make it easy. KitchenAid, Ventura TV appliance, and you, when only the best will do.
It's almost time.
Now we'll find out once and for all about Clark Kent and Superman.
Look up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's a TV show.
Yes, but who is he? What's his name?
He's Superman.
Golly, Clark, won't that be wonderful seeing Superman?
Fighting a never-ending battle for truth, justice, and television the MeTV way.
No one can do the things that Superman does.
The adventures of Superman.
Now on MeTV Fresno. Xfinity 187.
Retro TV, your home for classic television. The greatest shows in history are here for you to enjoy. Join Cosby and Colt as secret agent men in I Spy. Ride along the Ponderosa with the Cartwrights in Bonanza. Hit the beat with Joe Friday in Dragnet. And that's not all. Retro TV offers endless fun and excitement for the whole family to enjoy. Retro TV, the best in classic television.
You can find Retro TV on over-the-air channel 13.4.
Okay, we're back. As I understand it, my crew tells me that we've had some audio problems. In fact, I just got a text on my phone that said, hey, we can't hear you. The audio's not on. Oh, it's working now. Okay. So you never heard one word that I said during the entire monologue. First of all, I want to mention that our program today is sponsored by Dr. Thomas Casagrande, the owner of 2020 Optometrics. More than 2,000 frames out there at Shaw and Blackstone. So if you want some specs, hey man, Thomas Casagrande is the man to see out there at 2020 Optometrics. Okay, let me try this a second time. Prepping for this program for weeks now, and I'm talking about the fishing trip of a lifetime. And as I said in my previous monologue, it's not as if I've never been on a boat, but I haven't spent the entire day on a boat fishing. Let's go to the videotape, and now that you can hear me, I will spell it out. Here it is. You're looking at San Luis Reservoir, which is about 50% capacity right now. One of the better spots in Central California for fishing, even during this big drought. Hey, I read this better the second time around. You notice that? That's our guy on the boat out there, Roger George, fishing writer, expert for the Fresno Bee, trying to bring in that 21-foot Starcraft. The boat is of the upper echelon of boats, my friends. In fact, this baby's built for speed and long distance all at the same time. It can handle bad weather conditions as well. In fact, many of you who actually know fishing know this is the same kind of boat used by the pros during tournaments. This one was special ordered by Roger George from Illinois. Here's George bringing in his boat. This was last Friday, March the 6th, when cameraman Marcus Borelli and I met him on the dock at San Luis. George is an expert fisherman. For the last couple of years, he's been giving tours and advice at San Luis, and now, most recently, at Millerton, where the water, of course, is much lower. Now, on the day that we met him on the lake, it was picture perfect, and yes, it sounds like a cliche, but really, the sun was out, really warm, no breeze of any kind. The fish were biting and biting and biting. How many did we catch? We'll let you know. Plenty of them. We bolted right out of the gate with a big one right up front, and we just kept reeling those babies in. live in our studios. You look at that Waco. That's a beautiful scene right there. Here's Roger George of the Fresno Bee. He writes a column every Wednesday for the sports section. He is here today, and I'm not going to take another break because we've already introduced him twice, my friends. Roger, welcome to the program. How are you, sir?
John, I'm doing really great. The second time, I think you're better.
Yeah, you think so?
I think so, definitely.
I'm getting warmed up, man.
You are ready to go.
So we did, I think you did an outstanding job out there on March the 6th. That was a Friday afternoon. It was absolutely beautiful. We caught so many fish. I'll let the viewers know how many. I mean, you made it look so easy, Roger.
Well, whenever the fish are biting, it is easy, I guess. John, we were very lucky. We hit a day when everything was working real well. The fish were biting right on cue, and that's hard to get. And they were biting the lures that I was using. So all things being equal, we had a beautiful day. We had the fish were biting, and they were biting the lures that I put down there. It doesn't get any better than that. And we actually had some big fish, too.
Yeah, but the fact of the matter is, like you were saying, you were out there this past weekend, and you did not have as much success as you did when actually Marcus and I went out there with you. So it's it's hit and miss, I guess, right?
It has a lot to do with the people you bring. See, John, you can take credit for that.
Right, but it really depends on conditions and everything else, right?
The conditions are really critical. Those fish that's their home. And it's like their living room, and if you move the furniture around, they don't feel very comfortable.
What about the lures? How important are the lures that you use?
Every fisherman can tell you that. Excuse me, I was out yesterday fishing, so my hay fever had really kicked in because it's been windy over there. But the lures are absolutely critical. One day they want something really bright, and later on in some of this film, you'll see a lure that we're using that really was killing them. It's not my secret lure. It was a lure that day was working, but it'll change from really bright to obviously very dull colors, very translucent. The lures are real critical, and every day they change their flavor. So.
All right, before we get into any of the fishing and how we caught the fish, we need Roger to explain what a downrigger is, because the downrigger is critically important to how Roger catches fish on the boat. We're going to play that tape first. Let's roll it and let's hear it.
Hey, so John, what we have here this is a downrigger. It's an electric downrigger. And so it's not manual, so it has a motor inside of here. And right here you can see that this is a 12-pound ball. And what this downrigger really acts like is it acts like a hoist, so that it brings the ball up and down so that we can drop it down and then bring it up again. And so how that works is that what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and push this downrigger out so that this right here, this arm right here is out farther away from the boat. And we have braided line that we're using. And there's a counter up on top of this, so that whenever I let it down, if I let it down 1 foot, it tells me 1. So if it's 100 feet or whatever, I can tell right here how deep that ball is. As you can see, there's a clip on the back side. And what we're going to do is we're going to let the lure out behind us here when we start to fish. And after I let out about 90 feet of line, I'm going to put that line in this clip. And then I'm going to let the ball down. It's going to take that lure and the line that are behind the boat. It's going to take it down exactly to wherever I want it to go. So if I want it to go 50 feet, it'll take the lure down to 50 feet. If it's 100, it'll go to 100. So that way I can have a little lure back there behind the boat that I can control its depth perfectly and the speed with the boat here. So that way I have a lot of control over that little bait at a depth, but the minute that the fish hits, it pulls the line out of this clip, pops it out, and what happens is then I can fight the fish just like I normally would without anything attached.
Okay, so without the downrigger, what are your chances of catching fish?
Well, you can't be very specific. This can be a real science. If the fish are at a particular depth and if they're doing particular things, if they're on the bottom, deeper, shallower, this allows me to very specifically put that lure, a very small lure, right down where those fish are at. And you can't overstate how important that is, because putting that small lure right in front of their face is a very subtle way of getting them to eat, because they don't want to go very far. They're like, and the bigger the fish is, most of the time they're like I tell people, they're like a big pig. They don't move very far away from the trough. And so you want to get those lures right next to them. That small lure is real subtle.
So that downrigger actually puts that lure right in front of them.
Well, I control the depth, and I'm looking at my depth finder, and if it says it's 80 feet, well, I'm able to go down and get the lure as far off the bottom where I see the fish as I need to. I don't just haphazardly do that.
Yeah, you know exactly what the depth is. You know where they are. You know where they congregate. So that downrigger helps you determine the depth as to where they are and how far down they go.
And it also allows you to take a small lure, and when you hook the fish, you can fight it without any restriction. There's no weights on it, so it pops out of that clip, and now you're able to fight that fish free. And that's a big thing, because we all want to fight a fish and want to feel how it's pulling.
Years ago they didn't have this kind of equipment. I mean, it's amazing. That downrigger really is it gives you probably about a 20 or 30% jump on the competition on that, right?
If you don't have a downrigger and you're trying to fish a lake like San Luis, where you have water that's from 0 to 240, 50 feet deep.
Wow.
And the fish are not typically down at 240 feet. They probably go down as deep as 150, 160. But if you don't have a downrigger, you just can't fish 90% of that lake that might be holding fish. So you've got to have some kind of a technique that allows you to get your lure down to where those active fish are biting.
Take a call here. Good morning. You're on with Roger George. Caller, you're on the air.
Yeah, this is Mike.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead. You're
Hello,
on the
this is Mike. I just wanted to call in and say hi to George. On Valentine's Day, he took me up to the lake. I had troubles with my pontoon boat, and he had set my downriggers and everything for me, and I was having trouble with my boat, and it wouldn't start, so he ended up taking me back to Fresno, and we got his boat and went back up and finished up that day and caught a few fish. So I just want to say hi and shout out to all the fishermen that fish with Roger George. He's an excellent fisherman. And if you ever want an exciting fishing trip, book one with him.
Hey, Mike, it's exciting to go fishing, but it's also exciting to have a trip back and forth to San Luis 2 times in the same day to get a boat that's, get the boat that's working. So, Mike, thank you very much. I appreciate you calling in. And, we had fun. We caught some fish after a bad start.
All right. Thank you for the call. I appreciate it, Mike. That's a nice phone call to start the show off with here. We're going to continue our conversation. Roger George, hey, you can catch his column each and every Wednesday in the sports section. Fresno Bee, my friends. We're going to continue our fishing show here, 436 Meat TV Option 11. Don't forget our program today sponsored by Dr. Thomas Casagrande. You may want to take him fishing one day. Back in just a moment.
At 20/20 Optometric, your vision is their focus. Whether you're 5 or 65, Dr. Thomas Casagrande will get to know you, your lifestyle, and vision needs to ensure that your contacts or eyeglasses are a perfect fit and the right prescription every time. With the Valley's largest selection of eyewear, 20/20 has over 2,000 frames, including top designer brands like Coach, Tiffany, Prada, Ray-Ban, Oakley, and more. Eye exams start as low as $89, so call or stop by to schedule your appointment today.
Hello, I'm John Walsh. We need your help to capture this fugitive. Julio Cesar Guevara Mejia is wanted by the FBI in Sacramento for the attempted murder of a 19-year-old female in November of 2007. Police say he lured the young woman to a hotel room where he shot her 3 times in the chest. He could be in Palm Springs, California or Houston, Texas. Contact the FBI at 1-800-CALL-FBI if you have any information.
One of the biggest advantages is trying to figure out where those fish are congregating down below, underneath, about 150 feet down. But, if you have the right equipment, you can certainly figure it all out with a sonar or a fish finder. And so Roger George has this fish finder on the boat. It's amazing. It's like a map. It's like a GPS system that tells you where the fish are at any particular time and actually how deep they are. So take a look at this next piece of videotape and then we'll comment on the other side.
Area. This side is the GPS coordinates. That's a nav map. That's all of the contours of all the areas below us here. And those lines are basically show 10-foot differentials. So if there's a 10-foot drop, every line that you go out is 10 foot deeper. And you can tell by looking at this that, like an area like that there's an island, and there's an island there, and where we're fishing right now, there's an island right there. So those are things where you can actually see what's going on. This over here is actually what we're seeing down below the boat. And right now we have a few fish that are swimming by right here. Those green marks right there are fish. The bottom is right here, and the bottom is 102 feet. So this tells me a lot of information that I need in order to fish for these guys with the downriggers.
Boy, without that device, you're in deep, you know what.
You don't have any chance of really targeting those fish.
Yeah.
And that's the key is that it's on purpose. It's on purpose fishing. And it's almost more like hunting, where you're looking for the fish where they're at. Every day they're changing depth. And you said 150 feet a minute ago. You know, I've caught fish down to as deep as 150 feet in that lake.
Wow.
That's a long ways down. And most guys would say that's unbelievable because they don't fish that deep. But I've caught them that deep just to try it out. But most of the time they're from 100 feet and above. Most of the time, the zone that we look at is probably 55 to 100 feet is just about where these fish, the zone they like to inhabit.
You know, and we mentioned before, and I'm going to say it again, just because you have the most sophisticated equipment and the best boat and the, you know, the best lures, that's no guarantee that you're going to catch anything. No. Just because you know where the fish are, it really depends on the conditions and what, I mean, fish, they have moods like we do. You know, it's up and down.
I'm afraid it changes, and during the day, a lot of people think that for stripers and for a lot of fish they eat all day, but they really don't. They are very specific in the time frames when they do eat, and it's amazing that in an entire lake, that all the fish in a lake all decide at the same time to start eating. You think they have cell phones or internet out there because, and what's funny is that one day they're using fluorescent color, and the next day you're looking at a very light blue color that might be the change. So this is constantly changing, and you're going to have to realize that every day is a new day.
Yeah. Anyway, March 6th was the date that we were out there at San Luis, and you know, all this sophisticated equipment, you still have to have a fishing pole. So, does Roger have a fishing pole? Yes, he has many, as you will see in a few minutes here. Anyway, let's take a look at the next piece of video.
So John, I'm going to go ahead and put this out. This might be a good part to catch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this out. Right now I'm putting the lure out about 90 to 100 feet behind the boat. So I'm letting it out as we're moving forward. And actually for me, I call it like 5 pulls. I let the line go back and then I pull it. And that's number 4. And then one more, number 5. And then I'm going to clip it. So right now I'm going to go ahead and clip this thing. And I'm going to put it in the clip out here. So here's my clip. Here's my line. And behind us, the lure's back there about 100 feet. So I put the clip in there. Now you can see that the line is attached to the ball. So I'm going to let the ball down, and we're going to get it down to the depth where the fish are at. So right now, my little counter that's on top right here, that you might be able to see right there right now, this little counter right there says it's about 10, 12 feet. And I'm going to let this down, let it keep on going down. So that tells you how deep we're going. Right now we're at 42 feet with this thing. And I'm going to put it down about 55 feet. So there's an area out here where I know that there's some fish that are hanging off a hump out here. So we'll see if we can get over there and put this in front of some fish.
Yeah, well, anyway, that's how it works.
That's how it works, and you know you got to have everything. Your depth finder, your downrigger ball, everything has to be zeroed in exactly, because it's a technique where you're trying to put that ball right in front of a fish within a foot or so. And if you know what you're doing, you probably can.
Yeah. Hey, okay, the first big catch of the day. Got to show you this videotape. After, you know, we put the lure in, you know, Roger actually did it. He put the lure down and went down about 50, 55 feet. This was the first fish that we caught on March the 6th. It was a beauty. Check it out.
Yep, you're keeping the pole good. He's going to come up on top in just a minute. Keep the pressure on him. Keep your pole bent the entire time.
Okay.
There you go. When it comes to cameras, John knows what he's doing. When it comes to finding fish, Captain George knows it.
Marcus, I hope you're getting this.
Indeed. He is on it. Hey, that's a nice fish. You got a nice fish right here. This is really unusual that they're running around like that. Okay, now go ahead and slow down this a little bit. Keep your rod tip up. That's a nice fish. Okay, go ahead and keep him coming in here. I'm just making sure that he's. Oh yeah, very nice fish. Okay, let's see here. I'm going to go ahead and use. You got a really nice fish here. You have a very nice fish. Okay, that's the biggest one of the day right there. Okay, John, you're going to have to let one more line lift up like that.
Keep rolling.
Keep rolling. You have a beautiful fish here, my friend. Okay.
Oh man.
You have a really nice fish. Ha! I had no idea it was this big.
Wow.
You hit the jackpot, buddy. First fish, you hit the doggone jackpot. Okay, let me go ahead and get this out of. Okay, John, go ahead and let out line.
I was more surprised than you were.
Well, actually, I was really surprised. You know, I saw the fish fighting, but I didn't know if it was going to be that big. But when it came up, we had a fish that a lot of guys fish a long time up there and never catch one quite that big. That was a 30-inch fish, and probably weighed close to 10 pounds. And you know, that was for your very first fish. That was amazing.
Hey, we have an amazing phone call coming in right now. You there, caller?
Yeah, I almost caught the big one last time. What's your advice?
Say that again. You were asking me about bait?
No, I went out last time. I was using wax worms, and I almost caught the big one. What's your advice? I would.
What would be the? You're asking me as far as what would be the right bait to use, or what kind of lure to use? You're to ask. Is that what the question is?
Yeah.
Okay. You know, once again, you know, if you're fishing out there, the conditions are changing every day, and the lures are changing every day. I carry 3 or 4 big tackle boxes of lures, so you know, it's something where I try every day to see what's going on. I'm asking other fishermen if they're having success using a blue plug, a red plug, a green plug. You know, I try to get an idea. If it's overcast, then maybe I'm going to go to something shinier. If it's real clear and bright, then I'm going to have to go deeper, and I need a lure that probably is very translucent. So, you know, there's a lot of ifs there, and I wish I could give you a more specific answer, but sometimes the big fish, the bigger plugs, you want to go that way, they like big baits sometimes.
I know we got to go to break. Do we have time to show the measurement of this first fish? Okay, let's show how big that fish was. We measured that big bad boy that came in, the first one. Let's take a look.
Look at this! John, what are you doing?
How big is that?
That is a beautiful fish. That's probably about 8 pounds. That's
8 pounds. What's the length?
Well, we're going to take a measurement in a minute, but I'm saying it's about 8 pounds here, and it's a beautiful fish. Yeah. Awesome. Well, let's
take. We're going to put him back.
We're going to take a look at how long he is. I would bet that he's right at.
Ow. Got
you
me.
Okay? You got you?
Bleeding.
Okay, you are. Oh no.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to see if we can get a measurement on this guy. Okay, here we go. We got 29. We got 30 inches. It's a 30-incher.
Hey, how do you like that? Not bad, huh?
I'll tell you, I said 8 pounds because I was being conservative, but when you start looking at measurement at 30-inch, you're looking at 9 to 10 pounds fish, and you know, we're trying to handle them real quickly and get it back in the water to take care of them, and that's a real key thing because those fish over there, they don't get big if they're being caught out. We need to take care of them.
Right, and I do want to mention that all the fish that we caught on that day, on March the 6th, we tossed it back into San Luis, tossed each and every one of them right back in the water. So, safe and sound. Back with our guest, Roger George, here on Connect with Me on this Monday morning. It's On the Air, Off the Presses. Our program today sponsored by Dr. Thomas Casagrande, 20/20 Optometrics.
When you're looking for KitchenAid innovation and quality, who has the answers, the selection, the price? Ventura TV Appliance. With billions in nationwide appliance buying power, more than Home Depot and Best Buy combined, will help you save. Our low prices on Energy Star qualified KitchenAid appliances save you energy and money, and pay no interest on select models when paid in full within 12 months. Ventura TV Appliance, serving you since 1951.
You can find movies on over-the-air channel 13.3. Movies. Our name says it all.
Back here on the air, off the presses. That first fish that we caught, he glanced me. I was bleeding right on the hand.
Marcus and I were talking about airlifting you out, but we decided that the fishing was so good we better keep you there for the time being. So we took care of him. We used a little bit of fishing line to sew it up, but anyhow,
the boat was full of blood.
You're okay, John.
Anyway, the second fish that we caught was not quite as big, but I'll tell you what, still rather impressive for the first time out with Roger George. Take a look at this one.
I'm hoping. We got something there. We got him.
We got him. Okay. All right. You want me to try again?
Yep. We'll have to give her a try again. Okay. This feels like another nice fish. Another nice fish.
Another biggie.
Put your hands like that, like with your fingers. That'll give you.
All right.
Nothing to it, huh?
Yeah, right, Roger. I feel like Kurt Gowdy, the American sportsman. Remember that show?
Oh, yeah. Well, Kurt, yeah.
Oops, I may have lost him.
Yep.
No,
he's still on there.
Okay.
He ran into it because you can see the line taking off to the side.
Yeah, here it is.
Okay, well,
here it is.
Go ahead and bring him over that way. We'll just kind of pull him up, just like you're doing. Pull him over that way.
And there he is. Not as big this time.
No. I'm sorry. Now you're going to be disappointed.
I'm downsizing now.
You're down.
Yeah, we were downsizing at that point.
That was an average fish right there. That's the average size fish that you run into out there. The usual fish right now is from 19 to about 23 inches. That was probably around 21, 22 inches. It was a real good, hefty little fish.
Yeah, so that 30-incher that I caught in the beginning was pretty astounding then, huh?
I know a lot of guys. I've seen guys out there that this year we have a lot of smaller fish. I say smaller in that category. And a 30-inch fish is noteworthy. It really is for guys that are out there that seriously are fishing.
Hey, I want to ask you about deflating the fish, because we have a piece of video of you actually deflate. It looks like you're sticking a needle in him and like letting the air out. What is that all about?
Well, the fish, and this happened, a lot of people, if you've ever gone in the ocean and rock cod fished at depth, what you run into is that when they come up very quickly, they get the bends. And just like a skin diver can't come up too quickly, and they just puff up and they become full of air and literally cannot go back down again. It's like putting a life vest on somebody and trying to take them back under the water. They can't when they have it on. So what we use is a needle that's a hollow needle, and it's called fizzing most of the time. And if you know right where their air bladder is, you can go right in there with a sterilized hollow needle and hit that air bladder, and it literally sounds like a football deflating.
It won't hurt them.
It won't hurt them if it's done correctly. If you do it quickly and you know what you're doing, you can deflate them and not go too deeply. Then you're able to get the air out of there. You can hear it, and then when they get down, you can put in the water and they take off. And we've actually had guys catching fish that we could tell that have been deflated a day or two later. So, and we're not finding any dead fish out there. So it's been a very successful situation.
And I want to show that process because Roger displayed it to us perfectly on the boat that day on March the 6th. Take a look at deflating a fish.
Okay, so what we have is this fish came up from down below about 70, 80 feet. So what I'm going to do is I have a hollow needle. This is called a fizzing needle. And what we're going to do is we're going to actually, right behind his pectoral fin here, we're going to go ahead and come in. And you can hear the air going out right now. So we're actually deflating him right now. And try to be very gentle and deflate him so that his bladder that's full of air since it came up from depth is now deflated. So now we can put him in the water and we will let him go.
And there he went. He's off and running.
Right, and the bass fishermen have been doing this for many, many years. And the like I said, a lot of the ocean fishermen that bring fish up from depth have been doing similar things.
All right, caller, are you there? Go ahead. You're on the air. Caller? Hello?
Yes, hello?
Yeah, you're on the air.
I need to ask a question about me going on that show about personal issues.
If you have a fishing question, that's great. If not, maybe you could talk to John about that a little bit later. So
yeah. You got a fishing question today or not? Okay.
Yes, I do. It's about my son.
Okay, we'll talk to you after the show about that. Anyway, let's get to the next fish. And it's the third fish that was caught during the course of the day on March the 6th out there at San Luis Reservoir. Let's check it out. Feels like he's fighting me a little bit.
Yes, sir. He is. Good job. Yeah, he's wanting to run around here a little bit. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice fish. Okay, go ahead and bring him around and see the side over here if you can. Oh, another. That's a beautiful fish. Let him stay in the water. Okay. What we want to do is otherwise. There you go. That is a very nice fish.
Oh, that's a good sized fish.
That is a very nice fish.
Come on up, Marcus.
We have another very nice fish. Yeah. Okay.
I got it.
Okay, I'm gonna pull it up so I get it. I'll show you. This is kind of how you can lift it up, and that way you can lift it, and then I can give to him. And
I got the pole.
Okay. Oh, another
monster.
Another freaking beautiful fish. Wow. I'm telling you what, man, I've been out here all day and let me get this lure out of him.
There is a technique to getting the lure out too. I mean, you can't just rip it out of the fish. I mean, right?
No, you certainly don't want to. The point of us handling the fish right there, you can see I'm trying to handle them. Literally, I'm using a boga grip, which is that clamp that I'm using on their mouth. So I'm not even touching the fish. And then I'm using pliers to try to get in there. But also, that thing has 3 treble hooks on there that are very sharp. I don't want to stick my hand in there if I can help it. I've done it many, many times, but if you do it long enough, you're going to get nailed. So I finally decided I'm going to use a boga grip and I'm going to use the pliers to get out of him, and that way we can get it out of him very quickly and then get them back in the water if they don't need to be fizzed. If they do, then we're going to try to get them back in the water very quickly anyhow.
Do you have to twist it a certain way to get it out?
Those hooks go in all kinds of ways. So half the battle is that having experience to know how to do it so you can do it fairly quickly to get it out of there. If they're in their jaw and a really hard bony part of it, it can be really hard, but having the right tools is critical. And that way, having the right tools also will help you keep the fish as healthy as possible too, with the least amount of time out of the water.
All right, before we go to break, let's look at fish number 4 that we caught on the day there, and you'll also see Marcus later on catching a fish as well, but this one here is fish number 4. Come on in.
This will be your double limit right here.
Here it is.
Okay, just keep him in the water. Keep his head down, because otherwise, when they get out of the water, they can move a lot faster, and then they can throw the lure because they can move faster than they can in water. Okay, now what you want to do is just like this, and then what you can do is just lift. Go ahead, and just lift it like this up.
Okay.
So what you're doing is you're actually
No reeling?
No. So what you're doing is you're just lifting it like this so that it just can come right into me.
Okay.
That way, otherwise guys have to walk back. And, you know, walk back with the pole, it doesn't work very well.
All right.
Very nice fish. Of course, you're spoiled, so you don't know that.
Was I spoiled at that point?
At that point, you were very spoiled. You know, a lot of people catch 18-inch fish over there, and they're pretty excited. The average guy at San Luis might catch 1 or 2 fish in a day that are legal, and you can only keep 2 fish over 18 inches. And so a lot of folks, if they're 18 and a half, 19 inches, they feel like that's a pretty good day. But no, you were go out there the first time right here. I got to take you out on a bad day to even this thing out.
I mean, we were catching 18, 19. I was turning my back and I was like depressed. I mean, what's going on here? We're in a slump. We're in a slump.
We didn't catch very many small fish that day. The big fish were really biting.
Caller, go ahead. You're on the air, and turn down the sound on your TV set, please.
Okay.
Okay, what was your question?
Hello? Yeah, you got to turn down that sound.
Yeah, they said that they sold the fish with the fishing line. Will the fishing line dissolve, or will it stay there for a long time?
When the fish are on the fishing line down, when I hook them down below, you mean?
Yeah.
When the fish are on there down deep, we're reeling them up and trying to get them up. If it's a big fish, it's going to take a little time to get it up. But, most of the time those fish, we're getting them up within, 2-3 minutes most of the time, depending on how big the equipment is. So, we're not fighting them around there. If we used light equipment, we'd have a much better fight. But the problem is that those fish get really worn out, and they have a better chance of dying. So I try to use equipment that can get the fish, get a good fight, but yet still manage to get them out of the water before they're too exhausted.
Right. We're going to continue our conversation with Roger George. Keep in mind, every fish we caught got tossed back into the lake. Dr. Thomas Casagrande is our sponsor today. He owns 2020 Optometrics. Back in a moment.
Hello, I'm John Walsh. We need your help to capture this fugitive. James Bell is an alleged child predator. Bell's wanted for molesting 3 girls ages 9 through 13 while working at a local YMCA in 2003. He was arrested, then fled. Bell has worked as a gymnastics instructor, coach, and a computer repairman. Bell could be anywhere along the West Coast. If you know where he is, call 617-742-5533.
At 2020 Optometric, your vision is their focus. Whether you're 5 or 65, Dr. Thomas Casagrande will get to know you, your lifestyle, and vision needs to ensure that your contacts or eyeglasses are a perfect fit and the right prescription every time. With the Valley's largest selection of eyewear, 2020 has over 2,000 frames, including top designer brands like Coach, Tiffany, Prada, Ray-Ban, Oakley, and more. Eye exams start as low as $89, so call or stop by to schedule your appointment today.
Back here on the program with Roger George. He is from the Fresno Bee. You can read his column every Wednesday in the sports section. So we had Marcus Borelli out there, our photographer. So he got a chance to catch 1 or 2. And here's what he caught out there at San Luis on March the 6th.
Wow. This is a beautiful fish right here. Okay, I'm going to walk you right into it, and you just, okay, there you go. Good job. All right. Great, okay, so yeah, there you go. Perfect.
Oh my God.
Okay,
that's great. A biggie.
That's a biggie. Go ahead.
That's a biggie, guys.
Holy mackerel.
Okay, hang on. All right.
There you go.
All right. You want me to hang on to this rod?
Yes, yep.
I got it.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay, guys.
Be careful, Roger.
I'm going to be here. Who this guy is. This is the one I've been looking for a while here. All right.
That is a biggie.
Mackerel. Woo!
Wow.
This is what we come over here for. I'll tell you what. He is. Jeez. A beautiful fish. Okay, let's see if I can get him out of here. Get this thing off of the snooper here.
Okay.
We're gonna get some great pictures of this guy.
Okay. That's the one. Okay, we ran the wrong. That's the one that you caught. The biggie.
Yeah, it was the big one right there. And
what was that about?
That was I can't remember the inches, but it was like 16, 17 pounds. And when we get it up, you'll be able to see that it was a beautiful fish, and it was kind of the cap to the day of a big fish. But I hope that we have some still pictures or some more pictures of it holding it up, because that you'll really get a chance to see how big that fish was.
Yeah, amazing. Hey, as mentioned, Marcus did catch a fish out there.
He definitely did.
He did, and I do want to show the videotape. It's fish number 5 now. We're going to go backwards in time. Haven't shown that one yet, but here it is now.
Yeah, wait till he gets in here. No pressure on him? There you go. Okay, there you go. The surface. Okay, go ahead. Now you can just let it down. You don't want to pull him out of the water. So let him stay in the water. And then what you can do is just go ahead and lift your pole all the way up, and that way it just pulls it right on over here. All right, good. Perfect. There you go.
Got enough slack?
Yep, we're good. Thank you for checking on that. Let's see if I can get it out of there.
Well, you eventually get those out. That we didn't show you getting it out completely, but you were successful at every try in getting that lure out of there, and then we tossed them back. Yep. And Marcus did a pretty good job.
Marcus did a good job, and you know, trying to catch those fish, you know, down in the water because I'm standing in front of it. That's not easy to do. Marcus almost fell in the water a couple times, so I got to give him credit.
Hey, caller, are you there?
I'm still here.
Go ahead.
Yeah, you know, most people don't realize, but with the salmon restoration, fish like that will be coming back up the San Joaquin. The last, 4 or 5 years ago, the last time we had good water years, there was stripers coming up the San Joaquin. There was plenty of guys catching fish in the 5 to 8 pound range. I lucked into one myself, which really brought that to mind. But if you check out like the Sycamore Island website, there's quite a few catches of guys catching fish in that 5 to 8 pound range. In fact, earlier this year, someone caught one in what they call the through pond. My buddy lucked into a nice 5 pounder last year. So, you know, not only would salmon be coming up with the restoration, but stripers. You know, there was at one time a steelhead run that came up the river. Also, maybe American shad would be able to come back up. And then eventually maybe even sturgeon. So with the loss, with the build of the dam, not only did we lose the salmon run, but there was plenty of other fish, anadromous fish, that came up the river.
Excellent point. Excuse me. I wrote an article a couple of years ago about that very issue, that if we had the restoration and if we had good water flows, that you could be out there at Friant at the Dam Diner, which used to be there. It's closed now. You could be out there and go, like you say, fishing for probably salmon, if that ever became a possibility, and stripers. They were all out there. And it has a lot to do with, obviously, them opening the gates way down the San Joaquin, whether those fish can make it up or not.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, you've got a great point. A lot of people have no idea that they're out in the San Joaquin River, and there still are fish they're native to that area. They stay in there, and it is possible. So thank you for calling in.
There were some. Thank you, caller. Hey, I appreciate it. There are so many great fishing spots around Central California, but with the drought and no water coming into the system, obviously, how is that going to affect, you know, stripers, bass, salmon, all these various fishes that people go after? I mean, with low water levels, how does that affect how many fish you're going to catch or where they congregate?
Well, when you get really low water levels, the fish tend to get really stressed because they don't like a low water level. They feel threatened. So when you have falling water levels, just in general, fish tend to move out to deeper water and suspend, which means they become inactive. You know, when we're seeing water start to fall dramatically, there are issues that are going on, and the fish spawning is affected. There's a multitude of things that are all typically negative, and my hope this year is that we can make it through this summer and that we have a decent year next year to maintain at least.
Yeah, and in the monologue, which I did twice, by the way, just for your effect, I mentioned that Millerton is lower than San Luis.
Oh, yes.
Much lower, actually.
Yeah, it's much lower. It has been going down very slowly, but they're holding it at a level right now that I was trying to remember, it's about 180,000 acre feet out of 520. I think it's right that, whereas San Luis is 1.3 million out of 2.1 million. So San Luis is where they're holding a lot of water, but I think Millerton you'll see more stable. San Luis, they can drain that place very quickly, and our concern is that as the summer goes on, that we're going to see that go down to a mud puddle.
Wow. Okay, another call coming in, but okay, caller, I got to go to break, so hang on. We'll get to your call in a moment. We're back with Roger George. Dr. Thomas Casagrande, 2020 Optometrics is our sponsor today. Back in just a moment.
At 2020 Optometric, your vision is their focus. Whether you're 5 or 65, Dr. Thomas Casagrande will get to know you, your lifestyle, and vision needs to ensure that your contacts or eyeglasses are a perfect fit and the right prescription every time. With the Valley's largest selection of eyewear, 2020 has over 2,000 frames, including top designer brands like Coach, Tiffany, Prada, Ray-Ban, Oakley, and more. Eye exams start as low as $89, so call or stop by to schedule your appointment today.
Back here with Roger George. Caller, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Go ahead.
You know, I really like your fishing cap. Really looks good.
Yeah, I know. You like that look, don't you?
Oh, absolutely. And I was wondering if those fishes, if it's the same fish but at different camera angles. But anyway, well, my question is, when you buy a fishing license, it used to be they were prorated, where you would buy something maybe in June and would go to June the next year. Now, if you buy one in June, your automatic expires at the 1st of January. Why is that? Why did the state do that, or what's its reasoning?
Well,
thank you.
The short answer to that would just be bureaucratic, the way they handle it. You know, that was a great question, and that's why a lot of people at the end of the year buy one-day fishing stamps if they don't have a yearly.
That's what I did.
That's what you did, and what Marcus did. And so, you know, I wish there was something they could do to do annual. Some states have that, but we don't. And California is, you know, the fishing game is very underfunded, you know, type of situation. So I don't think we're going to see that change. Unfortunately, I think that it should. The only other way to get around that is to buy a lifetime fishing license, which you can do, and those are not cheap. But if you do that, then that goes the rest of your life. So those are. Gosh, I think, you know, it depends on what age you buy it, but you know, a lot of times you're looking $300-400 for those, but they're lifetime. So I don't have the exact number. I don't look at it very often, but and in response to his question, that would be another way to solve the problem. So,
you have one of those, a lifetime?
No, I don't. That you know, that's a great question. Every time I go in, I end up buying the year. So, yeah.
Now, what are you going to do?
I don't know.
You can't win. Okay, now. Limited time left with Roger George here, our fishing guy, and the Sequelizer. There's no sense in explaining what it is. I'll just play the video, and I think you pretty much in the video explain what the Sequelizer is. You talked about it the last time you were here. Here it is in action.
I'm going to use that Sequelizer, and we're going to use it right now to show everybody how this thing works. Okay, I'm going to get this puppy. Okay, watch out. Yeah. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and open this up. Okay, and what I'm going to do is put this on him right here. Okay, there it is. It's hooked on. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect this thing over here and put this on the downrigger. Okay, there it is. All good. It's set. Okay, so there he is. He's on there. Now I'm going to go ahead and let him down. Look at that baby. Goodbye. What a beauty.
All right, that was the big fish. That was the 34-incher that you caught. And what does the sequelizer do once you get that on him?
Well, as you can see right there, what it does is it locks onto his lower jaw, and then I'm able to put it onto the on the downrigger. And when you do that, there's a setting on that sequelizer for 30, 50, or 70 feet. It's pressure activated, so as it goes down at the preset depth that you want it to, it actually pops open and the fish swims away. So you haven't touched the fish. The fish is being held by his mouth, which doesn't hurt him at all, and you get him back to a pressure where he can just sit there and recover and swim away. It works fantastic.
Just like a human being.
Yeah.
Can't descend too fast.
No. Well, the fish can descend a lot faster than what we can, but if you get him back down to about 50 feet, if I brought him from 80 feet up, if I get him back to 50, he'll be equalized to a very high level. When that thing pops open, he swims away, and we got him.
Caller, limited time. Go ahead, my friend. Go. You're on the air.
Yes, I'm calling about the lifetime fishing license. What this guy's talking about, you can buy it, but you can only get it for a certain amount of years.
Yeah, you can only, if you buy it during the year, if you buy it in June, it's only good through December 31st. So, and that's the way all the licenses are. So the best thing to do for your most money is to buy your license before January 1st, and that way you get the full year out of your fishing license. So that would be how you would do that. So they all renew on January 1st.
Okay, I'm going to bypass the Sequelizer 2. Not going to show that one because we kind of already showed what we're going to talk about in terms of the Sequelizer. So roll a videotape called More Fish, and it's 3 more fish that we caught. We're going to talk over this. It's got a little bit of sound under, but Roger, this was a good day. How many fish did we catch altogether? Or should I say, how many fish did you catch altogether?
No, you guys, it's a team. It's a team event. That's the deal. When we go fishing, we work as a team.
Yeah, there's another one there. That's
another nice fish. That's probably around 22 inches, I would say, right in that category, 21, 22, 20, whatever.
There he goes.
It's amazing the number of fish, but we got probably, I think, 25 fish this day, and they were really biting. And as you can see, that lure that particular day was hot as could be, and the next week it was not hot at all. And so that is not my secret lure. I don't really have a secret lure. I have a whole bunch of them, so people ask me that all the time. But once again, it's finding the formula. You got to find the fish first, you got to find the action that they want, find the lure, and then be there when they're ready to bite, because a lot of times they may be there but they're not willing to bite. So I'm trying to target them where they are hanging around, which is typically structure.
Yeah, and there's the third one. So we caught about, what, 25 or so?
Yeah, we were right around 25 fish is what we ended up with, somewhere right in that territory. And but what was amazing was that we had fish all the way up to that one fish that was right at 16, 17 pounds. And we had that 10 for you, and then we had another fish that was probably about 8.
All right, only 2 minutes left. Let's show the equipment. You talked about the equipment in there. Let's show that videotape before we go. Only got 2 minutes left, and I want you to talk about the motors. There's one of the motors, one of 2 motors on your boat.
On my boat there, I have, my boat is actually a walleye boat, which was designed for the Great Lakes. And so it's a combination between a bass boat and a deep V. The deep V is typically the kind of a boat you use on heavier water, like the ocean. The bass boat is for speed. This is a combination boat designed for the Great Lakes. Those engines, I have a 250 Pro XS, which is a racing engine, and then I have the 9.9, which I'm using for trolling at low speed.
There's your tackle box.
That's one of my tackle boxes right there. That's some of the bigger lures that I have there. Most of those lures there run anywhere from $10 up to ones there is about $125. So,
and how many poles have you got there?
I carry about 8 to 10 poles typically for different applications.
How do you know which one to use?
Well, the application has a lot to do with it. If I'm using big plugs, small plugs, more finesse, deeper, shallower, there's a multitude of things that I do there.
We're out of time, but you got something there on the desk. What is that?
Well, what I wanted to do is, John, since you hadn't really fished for many, many years, and this is your first fishing trip, I wanted to give you a special memento to basically commemorate your first successful fishing trip for this many years. This is a Fluke with a 3/4 ounce bullet head on it. Do not get your finger on this guy. It's ultra sharp, but it has all kinds of ties on here. This has caught a lot of fish. There you go, John.
Thank you very
Fish
much.
with
That's
it.
the
Do well.
fluke. The fluke, because the first time out was a fluke.
That was a
very
fluke.
much.
There you
Thank
go.
you very much. Roger, George,
Hey,
good to see you.
John, thank you. Great fishing trip with you.
Thanks for taking us out. I appreciate it.
You bet.
It was a lot of fun. The Fluke right here on Connect with Me. Thanks to Roger George and thanks to Dr. Thomas Casagrande. You can catch this episode again online on our YouTube channel. See you tomorrow on Connect with Me. Have a good day.